A plane had to make an emergency landing on a Virginia road. We'll talk to a local resident for their reaction. And the field of GOP candidates is narrowing ahead of the New Hampshire primary. Now a former presidential candidate is looking at who to endorse other than Trump.
Plus, a wind chill advisory is in place for most of us through early on Sunday as temperatures are set to plummet. Your forecast coming up as Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
A wind chill advisory runs through Sunday morning as the snowiest week we've seen in quite some time continues. But improvements are in sight. First Alert meteorologist Cameron Aaron has more on what to expect.
Steve, we are still tracking some light to moderate snow showers across the mountains on this Friday afternoon. Let's go straight to First Alert Pinpoint Doppler. And as you can see, some more scattered, heavier snow downpours are likely into this afternoon, and they will continue into this evening as well. Zooming into a few heavier bands of snow in Knott County into Magoffin, also Floyd County close to Prestonsburg, and same story for Martin County into Pike County, also into our West Virginia counties at this hour. Still watching out for some heavier downpours of snow there. Some lighter stuff close to the Tennessee and Kentucky and Virginia borders in Knox County, Bell County, also into Harlan County at this hour. A little bit of a camera tour. Here's a live look from Pine Mountain at US 119. That current temperature down to 20. So once again, be sure to use plenty of caution and drive slowly. If you have to be on the road, if you can, just stay at home as more slick spots are likely. A live look from Slade at the Mountain Parkway. That current temperature down to 22 degrees. And over at UVA Wise down to 23 as snow showers continue on this Friday afternoon. Down to 19 for Somerset and Williamsburg, and that colder air will continue pushing off to the east as we go into tonight, also tomorrow and Sunday. So we do have a first alert weather day in place for this weekend as more bitter cold is on the way. Those details plus the details on a warm up coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. Officials are on the scene of a plane that landed on the Loudoun County Parkway in Virginia. According to officials, around 12:50 this afternoon, Virginia State Police responded to a call about a small private aircraft making an emergency landing on the Loudoun County Parkway. The aircraft has been identified as Southern Airways Express Flight 246. The plane had left Dulles International Airport.
I thought it was a much smaller plane, but then coming up close to it, seeing that it is a pretty decent passenger-sized plane, you know, it's scary, you know, it's sad that it happened, but luckily I'm pretty sure nobody got hurt, and that's the biggest thing, you know, especially on a day like today where the conditions aren't even great for cars to be out here, for a plane to hit the road, you know, it's good that everybody walked away from it, you know.
Officials say 7 people were on board. No word on injuries yet or the cause of this emergency landing. Dulles Airport is still open for takeoffs and landings. Also, late word, a grand jury has indicted actor Alec Baldwin on an involuntary manslaughter charge in the 2021 shooting on the set of the movie Rust. The indictment revives a dormant case against the A-list actor. Special prosecutors brought the case before a grand jury in Santa Fe this week, months after receiving a new analysis of the gun that was used. Baldwin was reportedly pointing a gun at cinematographer Haina Hutchins during a rehearsal when the gun went off, killing her. A Republican-led House committee wants to hear directly from Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin about his failure to notify key government leaders of his recent hospitalization. The House Armed Services Committee has asked Austin to testify in person on February 14th. The chair of the panel, Mike Rogers, wrote in a letter, quote, "Congress must understand what happened and who made decisions to prevent the disclosure of the whereabouts of a cabinet secretary." As the GOP presidential field narrows heading into New Hampshire's primary on Tuesday, every vote and endorsement counts. Former President Donald Trump is still dominating the race, but former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis are vowing to push on. Julia Benbrook is in New Hampshire's capital city with an update on which candidates might gain supporters from those who have already dropped out of the race.
And then there were 3. Former President Donald Trump, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis battle it out for support in New Hampshire.
Nikki Haley.
Trump.
Trump. Probably DeSantis.
Nikki Haley.
Probably more towards going with DeSantis this year.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie was polling at 12% in the Granite State when he bowed out of the race last week. He said he wanted to make room for someone other than Trump to take the lead.
I'm going to make sure that in no way do I enable Donald Trump to ever be president of the United States again. And that's more important than my own personal ambitions.
Christie, who supported and advised Trump during past elections, was the most outspoken critic in the field this time around. When he stepped away, he did not endorse anyone else, a decision that some New Hampshire voters described as disappointing.
I actually had mixed feelings about it because I thought that, he would come out and support Haley or come out and support somebody else when he did it.
A recent CNN poll found that Haley will likely benefit the most from Christie's exit. 65% of his supporters listed the former UN ambassador as their second choice. But after an apparent reference to Haley during a hot mic moment,
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
it's unclear if he would officially back her. In Concord, New Hampshire, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Well, federal prosecutors in D.C. have asked a judge to sentence a former President Donald Trump advisor to 6 months in prison. Yesterday, prosecutors issued the 20-page request to sentence Peter Navarro for defying a congressional subpoena. Last year, Navarro was convicted on 2 counts of contempt of Congress for not complying to a 2022 subpoena. Prosecutors said Navarro's conduct justifies a harsher sentence, and the proposed 6 months could be served concurrently. The federal judge overseeing former President Trump's election subversion case told prosecution to stop submitting court filings for now. Yesterday's filing comes after Trump's legal team raised issues after special counsel Jack Smith's team handed over more evidence as part of discovery, despite proceedings being put on hold. In yesterday's ruling, Judge Tanya Chutkan wrote that the prosecutors must now get her permission before they submit any future filings. Former President Trump is fighting to get his name back on the Colorado 2024 presidential ballot. Last month, Colorado's Supreme Court ruled that Trump cannot run for a second non-consecutive term because of the 14th Amendment and its ban on insurrectionists. The judges referred to the reported actions of Trump on January 6th as rioters made their way into the U.S. Capitol. Trump wants the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the Colorado decision. Coming up on First at 4, a tradition 58 years in the making. We introduce you to a super fan who will attend his 58th Super Bowl.
Plus, we are tracking some more snow showers for now, but some drier weather is on the way by tonight. Those details coming up after this break.